Today we talk about climate change and the catastrophes that it brings. It has been a while since global warming was mentioned in the first place. And it has been widely believed that CO2 is the major culprit of it. As a matter of fact, I also have believed so until I watched the Creative Society Forum. The forum presented on November 12, 2022 revealed that fact about CO2 myth, so I researched about it myself. As a result, I found that the CO2 contained in the Earth's atmosphere is 415 ppm. Alright, what the heck is ppm? ppm stands for parts per million. Therefore, 415 ppm means that there are 415 CO2 molecules out of 1 million. In 1750, before the Industrial Revolution, CO2 content in the air was 278 ppm. Yes, indeed, carbon dioxide has been increased because of man-made influence of industrialization. However, what's the big deal about 278 turned to 415 pieces out of 1 million? We can see that it is just a numerical trick that made it look like 50% increase just by looking at the number 278 and 415. But look at the denominator, which is 1 million. So we are actually comparing 0.000278 and 0.000415. You see? Indeed, human beings increase the volume of CO2 emission, but in a planetary scale, it is nothing. It means that there are other bigger factors causing global warming, and it suggests the following two things. One, there are vested interests even in so-called the green industry that promotes solar panels and wind turbines, advertising their green policies that promise reduction of CO2. Two, they know the fact that there are much larger factors that are causing global warming than CO2. However, it seems too overwhelming for humanity to counter it, so it is better to hide it so that people do not get panicked. Now, let's look at the video about the green industry.
Solar panels, for example, contain such heavy metals as lead, cadmium, and mercury. During operation, they leach into the ground and evaporate into the atmosphere. Waste from solar panels is 300 times more toxic than nuclear waste and requires special disposal. But since it costs more than production, they decided not to bother with it and send the used panels to landfills in poor countries. So far, not a single country in the world today has regulations for their disposal. So what's wrong with wind farms? To build a wind farm requires an enormous investment of money and resources. At that, the average lifespan of a wind turbine is 20 years, and during this time, it manages to recoup only 78% of the money spent upon its construction and installation. We are not even talking about maintenance, which implies building special-purpose vessels, expensive utility high-rises, and constant replacement of blades. Just one wind turbine requires more than 500 tons of lubricants, which is comparable to 9 tank cars of railway trains, which, by the way, are also produced from non-renewable resources of the planet. Just think about it. The size of the blades can be as big as the length of a soccer field. And do you know what they are made of? That's right, of that very plastic that we continue to struggle with so unsuccessfully around the world. Because of their gigantic size and hazardous chemical composition, they can't be recycled. So the classic solution is that the blades are taken to landfills and covered with soil. After all that, do you still think wind power is environmentally friendly? Where does such pushy advertising of green energy and show of concern for us come from? After all, it is not profitable for the states that are forced under pressure to subsidize these projects and buy this energy at 5 times the price of traditional energy. Germany is a prime example. By shutting down most nuclear power plants in favor of green energy, it has hit a dead end. On best productivity days, it generates only 17% of its electricity. So, today, it has to buy energy with huge amounts of taxpayer money from the same non-green nuclear power plants in neighboring countries. Tell me, isn't that absurd? There is also another important fact worth noting. Renewable energy depends on the sun and the wind. So it must either be used immediately or accumulated in batteries. Yet, electricity is a complicated and expensive commodity to store. Now let's recall that a battery is the conversion of electrical energy into chemical energy and back again. To create them, harmful chemicals are used that cannot be recycled. And in order to produce cobalt, child labor in underground mines in the Congo is used. All this is done to allow us to breathe supposedly clean air.
Now, let's talk about the other bigger factor of global warming. It is explained as a result of the cyclical events happening every 12,000 years, according to the Creative Society. Due to the influence of cosmic radiation that pours down on the entire solar system every 12,000 years, the cores of each planet begin to shake, resulting in pole shifts, and the rotation speed of the planets accelerates. Then, with increased centrifugal force, magma rises through the mantle plume from deep inside and warms the seawater. This is the true cause of the global warming that is happening now. At the Creative Society Forum in April 2023, it was explained that Mars was also affected by this cycle. And 24,000 years ago, a submarine volcano erupted. When magma met the seawater, a violent explosion occurred, and Mars was instantly destroyed by a planetary-scale hydraulic impact. The Creative Society volunteer science team found that catastrophic events during the 24,000-year cycle are larger than the regular 12,000-year cycle, based on their 27 years of geological studies. Our planet Earth is about to face the same consequence as our brother planet Mars, and we do not have much time left. I will talk about it further in another video. In the meantime, my friends and I were told about the event that our solar system experiences every 12,000 years through another source. It's about the photon belt. The galaxy where our solar system belongs has the sun called the central sun in the center. While the Earth revolves around the sun, our entire solar system revolves around the central sun. The central sun is the star Alcyone in the Pleiades star cluster. Its revolution cycle is 24,000 years. The photon belt is donut-shaped and located perpendicular to the orbit of our solar system that revolves around Alcyone. Our solar system passes through the photon belt twice during its one orbital run. Each half cycle takes 12,000 years and passes through the photon belt. 10,000 years out of the photon belt and 2,000 years in the photon belt. The Earth has raised its vibrations each time it passes through the photon belt. This is a process called Ascension, and only life that has been able to tune into the rising vibration of the planet has survived. And this time is the big one, the 24,000-year cycle. The process of this time enables us to elevate from the current third dimension straight up to the fifth dimension, bypassing the fourth. Therefore, if you are unable to let go of the third dimensional way of thinking, namely money and material-oriented mind, or the experiences, knowledge, the common sense that you have acquired in the consumerist society, you won't be able to keep up with the ascension process of the Earth that is vibrating in much higher frequency. While the Creative Society does not mention the photon belt, it explained what is going to happen in the 12,000-year cycle and its cause. Thus, we were able to grasp the whole picture. And we can say that the Creative Society is the society to be created with the consciousness of the fifth. I know that many of you might be perplexed understanding the Creative Society, as its concept is completely different from the current familiar consumer format of society. But it is an ideal world where people take initiative and self-govern for people ourselves, based on the 8 pillars of foundation. It is totally up to you whether to deny the change, holding on to the conventional way of thinking, the acquired knowledge and experiences, or to accept whatever comes and start living in a new way. The concept of the fifth dimension is unity. The ideas such as discrimination and division that have been dominating this world do not resonate anymore. Let us unite our heart and mind and create such an ideal society, the Creative Society. Together, we can. Today, it was at Makapu'u Beach, Waimanalo, Hawaii.
Anytime, anywhere, we're reaching out for love. Every time, every day, we're looking up above, waiting for an answer to bring the world some light. We need to come together to make the future bright. It is time for truth. Nothing to fear for anymore. We can open any door. It is time for truth. Tell the world what we're about. Stand up and shout it out. It's time for truth. Don't we know what to do to bring the world prosperity? Only way that is true is through creative society. Let's make the change